Revealed: why 80% of Americans can't retire early. At 35, did you ever imagine you'd still be setting an alarm clock at 65? Yet here's the brutal reality. 80% of Americans will never retire early, and most won't even be able to retire comfortably at the traditional age. While countries like Germany and Australia have citizens retiring in their 50s and 60s, Americans are working longer hours, deeper into their golden years, despite living in the world's largest economy. Here's what the financial industry doesn't want you to know. Early retirement isn't about making more money. It's about avoiding 7 specific traps that keep Americans financially imprisoned until they're too old to enjoy freedom. These are systematic mistakes that 8 out of 10 Americans make starting in their 20s, creating a lifetime of financial servitude. The shocking truth? Most Americans earn enough money during their careers to retire by 50, but they unknowingly follow a script designed to keep them working until they die. This script is so deeply embedded in American culture that people defend it as normal, while watching their dreams of travel, hobbies, and family time slip away. And I discovered they all avoid the same 7 wealth-destroying mistakes that trap everyone else. These aren't wealthy people with trust funds. They're teachers, mechanics, nurses, and accountants who simply refuse to follow the conventional wisdom that keeps most Americans broke. Today, I'm exposing the 7 deadly traps that steal early retirement from millions of Americans, and more importantly, the specific strategies to escape each one. If you're tired of accepting that working until 65 is just the way things are, comment "freedom" below. You can consider subscribing to my channel, turn on the notification bell. I sincerely bless those who have liked this video, hope you soon achieve financial freedom. And I also hope everyone can share this video freely so that many other predestined people can also receive blessings. And let's break these chains together. The first trap alone explains why your coworkers who make twice your salary still live paycheck to paycheck. Trap 1. The lifestyle inflation prison. The deadliest mistake that kills early retirement dreams isn't failing to save money. It's the automatic lifestyle inflation that happens every time Americans get a raise, bonus, or promotion. When someone goes from making $50,000 to $75,000, instead of banking that extra $25,000, they immediately upgrade their life. Bigger apartment, newer car, expensive dinners, premium subscriptions. This creates an invisible trap where higher income actually leads to less wealth because spending always rises to meet earnings. This pattern is so predictable that credit card companies and car dealerships specifically target people who just got promotions, knowing they'll justify bigger purchases with their improved financial situation. The result? People making $100,000 feel just as financially stressed as when they made $40,000, because their expenses grew faster than their income. The solution is implementing what wealth builders call stealth wealth. Maintaining your current lifestyle, regardless of income increases, and banking 100% of raises and bonuses. Instead of seeing extra income as permission to spend more, treat it as rocket fuel for your early retirement fund. This reminds me of the parable of the rich fool from ancient teachings, who kept building bigger barns to store his increasing harvest, constantly expanding his lifestyle instead of enjoying what he already had. One day, his life was required of him, and all his accumulated possessions meant nothing because he had never learned contentment or true wealth building. Implement the raise trap blocker immediately. When you get your next raise, automatically direct the entire increase to savings before you even see it in your checking account. Live like you never got the raise, and watch your retirement fund explode. It's not how much money you make, but how much money you keep, how hard it works for you, and how many generations you keep it for. Lifestyle inflation is the silent killer that ensures you'll work until you die, no matter how much you earn. But even if you master lifestyle inflation, the second trap has convinced millions of Americans that someone else is handling their retirement for them. Trap 2. The 401k dependency delusion. The second retirement killer that destroys most Americans' early retirement dreams is the dangerous assumption that their employer's 401k plan will be enough to fund their golden years. They dutifully contribute their 3 to 6%, get the company match, and then mentally check out of retirement planning for decades. This set it and forget it mentality creates a devastating illusion of progress while the math quietly works against them. Here's the brutal reality. Even with perfect 401k contributions and market returns, the traditional retirement system is designed to replace only 70% of your pre-retirement income starting at age 65. But early retirement requires 100% income replacement, starting 15 to 20 years earlier, which means you need 3 to 5 times more money than the 401k system provides. Most Americans never run these numbers, blindly trusting that someone else has figured out their retirement for them. The solution is taking complete personal responsibility for your retirement funding and building wealth outside employer-sponsored plans. This means maxing out your 401k for the tax benefits, then building additional wealth through Roth IRAs, taxable investment accounts, real estate, business ownership, and multiple income streams that aren't locked up until age 59 and a half. This situation mirrors the biblical story of the 10 virgins waiting for the bridegroom. 5 were wise and brought extra oil for their lamps, while 5 were foolish and relied solely on their initial supply. When the bridegroom was delayed, the foolish virgins' lamps went out because they hadn't prepared adequately. The wise virgins entered the celebration while the foolish ones were left outside, having depended on insufficient preparation. Calculate your true early retirement number. Take your desired annual income and multiply by 25. If that's $1.5 million, but your 401k will only reach $400,000, you need to build $1.1 million outside employer plans. Start immediately with a Roth IRA and a taxable brokerage account. Don't wait for extraordinary circumstances to do good. Try to use ordinary situations. Your 401k is just the foundation, not the entire building. Early retirement requires you to become the architect of your own financial independence. However, even perfect savings won't help you if you fall into the third trap that turns your money into quicksand. Trap 3. The high-interest debt quicksand. The third wealth destroyer that guarantees most Americans will never retire early is carrying high-interest consumer debt while simultaneously trying to build wealth. They'll contribute to their 401k, earning 7% annual returns while paying 18 to 24% interest on credit cards, effectively running uphill on a treadmill. This mathematical impossibility means they're actually getting poorer every month, despite feeling like they're investing for retirement. The average American household carries $6,194 in credit card debt, $31,099 in auto loans, and thousands more in personal loans and store credit. Meanwhile, they're contributing $200 to $500 monthly to retirement accounts, earning 6 to 8% returns. This backwards approach means they're paying more in interest than they're earning in investments, creating negative net worth growth regardless of their savings discipline. The solution is implementing the debt avalanche strategy, immediately stopping all investment contributions except the minimum for employer matching, and attacking high-interest debt with laser focus. Every dollar that was going to investments should instead eliminate debt, starting with the highest interest rates first. Once consumer debt is eliminated, redirect those payments plus the previous investment contributions into wealth building. This principle is powerfully demonstrated in the parable of the unjust steward, who was about to be fired for poor financial management. Rather than continuing his failing approach, he quickly settled all outstanding debts at reduced amounts, prioritizing debt elimination over other financial goals. His master commended him for his shrewd decision to handle first things first, clearing the foundation before building wealth. Create a complete debt inventory today. List every balance, minimum payment, and interest rate. Stop all non-essential investing and attack the highest rate debt with every available dollar. A person paying off $20,000 in credit card debt at 22% interest effectively earns a guaranteed 22% return, better than any investment. Tony Robbins teaches, you can't build a solid financial future on the quicksand of debt. Every dollar you pay in interest is a dollar that can never compound in your favor. Debt elimination isn't just about math, it's about psychological freedom and creating the foundation for exponential wealth building. But even debt-free Americans fall into the fourth trap that delays retirement by decades through pure mathematical ignorance. Trap 4. The savings account wealth killer. The fourth retirement-destroying mistake that traps millions of Americans is keeping their money in savings accounts, CDs, or safe investments that actually guarantee they'll never accumulate enough wealth to retire early. They're so terrified of losing money in the stock market that they choose investments guaranteed to lose purchasing power to inflation. With savings accounts paying 0.5% while inflation runs 3 to 4% annually, they're systematically becoming poorer every year while feeling responsible about their money. This fear-based approach to investing creates a devastating mathematical reality. Money in savings accounts doubles every 140 years, while money in stock market index funds doubles every 10 years. Someone keeping $50,000 in savings for 30 years will have about $58,000 in today's purchasing power. That same $50,000 invested in index funds becomes approximately $400,000. The safe choice costs them $342,000 in retirement wealth. The solution is understanding that not investing is the riskiest financial decision you can make. Inflation is guaranteed to erode cash savings, while stock market investments have never lost money over any 20-year period in history. The path to early retirement requires accepting short-term volatility to capture long-term growth that compounds wealth exponentially. This reminds me of the parable of the talents, where a master gave 3 servants different amounts of money before traveling. 2 servants invested their money and doubled it, while the third buried his talent in the ground to keep it safe. When the master returned, he praised the servants who had taken calculated risks and punished the one who had let fear prevent growth, saying, "You should have at least put my money with the bankers to earn interest." Open a low-cost index fund account this week and begin automatic monthly transfers from your savings. Start with $500 monthly into a total stock market index fund. Keep only 3 to 6 months of expenses in savings. Everything else should be growing through strategic investing. Warren Buffett, who learned from Benjamin Graham, advises, "Risk comes from not knowing what you're doing." The stock market is a wealth transfer mechanism from the impatient to the patient. Fear of temporary losses creates permanent poverty, while accepting volatility creates lasting wealth. However, even perfect investing strategies fail when Americans fall into the fifth trap that makes early retirement mathematically impossible. Trap 5. The "I'll start tomorrow" time theft. The fifth wealth-destroying trap that guarantees most Americans will work until they die is procrastination disguised as waiting for the perfect time. They tell themselves they'll start serious investing when they get that promotion, when they pay off their car, when they understand the market better, or when they have enough money to make it worthwhile. This seemingly harmless delay costs them hundreds of thousands of dollars because they underestimate the devastating power of lost time in wealth building. Here's the mathematical reality that most people never grasp. Starting to invest at 25 versus 35 isn't just a 10-year difference, it's often a $500,000 difference by retirement age. Someone who invests $300 monthly, starting at 25, will have approximately $800,000 at 65. Someone who waits until 35 and invests the same amount will have only $350,000. Those 10 preparation years cost them $450,000 in retirement wealth. The solution is understanding that imperfect action beats perfect inaction every single time. You don't need to understand everything about investing, have your entire financial plan figured out, or wait until you can invest large amounts. Start with whatever you can afford today, even $50 monthly, and increase it as your income grows. Time in the market beats timing the market every single time. This principle is beautifully illustrated in the ancient story of the ant and the grasshopper. While the grasshopper spent summer singing and playing, believing there would always be time to prepare later, the ant worked diligently gathering food for winter. When the harsh season arrived, the ant was comfortable and secure, while the grasshopper faced starvation, having squandered the abundant season with procrastination. Open an investment account today, even if you can only contribute $25. Set up automatic transfers for whatever amount you can afford right now. You can always increase contributions later, but you can never buy back lost time. Every month you delay is money that will never compound in your favor. Jim Rohn taught, "We must all suffer from one of two pains, the pain of discipline or the pain of regret. The difference is discipline weighs ounces, while regret weighs tons." The pain of starting small today is nothing compared to the pain of realizing at 55 that you waited too long. But even early starters fail when they fall into the sixth trap that keeps them dependent on employment income forever. Trap 6. The single income source prison. The sixth trap that keeps Americans locked in lifetime employment is building their entire financial future around one income source, their job. They climb corporate ladders, negotiate salary increases, and assume that employment income alone will fund their dreams of early retirement. This single-stream thinking creates devastating vulnerability. One layoff, industry disruption, or economic downturn can destroy decades of financial progress in months, forcing them to restart their retirement timeline in their 50s or 60s. The brutal mathematics of single-income dependency make early retirement nearly impossible. Even high earners making $150,000 annually struggle to save enough because they're trading time for money in a linear relationship. Work more hours, make more money. Stop working, money stops immediately. This creates a hamster wheel where early retirement requires accumulating 25 to 30 times your annual expenses, which takes 30 to 40 years of aggressive saving for most people. The solution is systematically building multiple income streams that don't depend on your physical presence or time investment. This includes dividend-paying stocks, rental real estate, business ownership, royalties, licensing deals, and digital products that generate revenue while you sleep. Early retirees typically have 5 to 7 different income sources, ensuring that if one stream slows down, others continue flowing. This wisdom echoes the ancient proverb about not putting all your eggs in one basket, but more specifically, the story of the wise merchant who traded across multiple markets. While other merchants specialized in one type of goods, the wise merchant diversified across spices, textiles, precious metals, and agricultural products. When political upheaval disrupted the spice trade, his other businesses sustained him. When drought affected agriculture, his other ventures thrived. Start building your second income stream this month, even if it only generates $100 to $200 initially. This could be freelancing your current skills, creating a digital course, investing in dividend stocks, or starting a small service business. Focus on income sources that can scale without requiring more of your time. Napoleon Hill observed, "Multiple sources of income provide both security and acceleration toward financial independence." The person who depends entirely on employment income is always one decision away from financial disaster. Your job should fund your life, while you build the income streams that will fund your freedom. However, even multiple income streams won't save you from the seventh and most devastating trap that keeps Americans working until they die. Are you starting to see why 80% of Americans never escape the workforce? We've just exposed 6 devastating traps: lifestyle inflation, 401k dependency, high-interest debt, savings account paralysis, procrastination, and single income source vulnerability. If you're recognizing yourself in any of these traps and feeling that mix of frustration and frustration that you've been caught in these systems, but hope that you now see the way out, pause for a moment and comment freedom below. But if you're thinking, "I'm already trapped in most of these, is it too late for me?" Comment hope, and I'll know to create content specifically about escaping these traps at any age. Every comment helps me understand where you are in your journey. Because my mission isn't just to expose these problems, it's to help you build the specific solutions that lead to actual early retirement. Now we're about to reveal the 7th and most devastating trap. This one is different from the others because it's not about money, investing, or debt. It's about something deeper that controls every financial decision you make. And until you recognize it, all the other solutions won't matter. This final trap explains why even Americans who avoid the first 6 traps still end up working until they die. Trap 7. The normal life mental prison. The 7th and most devastating trap that destroys early retirement dreams isn't financial, it's psychological. Most Americans are imprisoned by a script of normal life that makes working until 65 feel inevitable rather than optional. This script includes buying houses they can barely afford, having children before they're financially ready, taking on social obligations that require constant income, and surrounding themselves with people who reinforce the belief that everyone has to work until retirement age. This mental prison is so powerful that Americans will defend their financial imprisonment as responsible adult behavior. They'll argue that buying the biggest house they can afford shows they're building equity, that having expensive children young is natural, and that working 40+ years is just what people do. This psychological programming ensures they never even attempt early retirement because they've been conditioned to see it as impossible or irresponsible. The solution is recognizing that every normal financial decision was designed by institutions that profit from your lifetime of payments and employment. Banks profit when you take 30-year mortgages. Consumer companies profit when you buy new cars every few years. Employers profit when you believe you have no choice but to work for them until you're too old to enjoy freedom. This parallels the story of the Israelites in Egypt, who became so accustomed to slavery that when Moses offered them freedom, many wanted to return to bondage because it felt safer and more familiar than the uncertainty of liberation. They had internalized their oppression so completely that freedom felt more frightening than slavery. Question every normal financial decision. Do you need the big house, new car, expensive wedding, or costly children's activities? Or are these social pressures disguised as necessities? Design your life around early retirement first, then add only the expenses that truly enhance your happiness. Tony Robbins teaches, most people fail in life not because they aim too high and miss, but because they aim too low and hit. Society programs you to accept mediocrity as normal. The biggest trap isn't financial, it's accepting that financial freedom is only for other people. Breaking free from this mental prison is the first step toward joining the 20% who retire early while everyone else works until they die. Now you understand why 80% of Americans will never retire early, despite living in the world's wealthiest nation. It's not about making more money, it's about avoiding 7 systematic traps designed to keep you working until you die. Lifestyle inflation, 401k dependency, high interest debt, savings paralysis, procrastination, single income sources, and the normal life mental prison. These traps work together like a perfect storm, ensuring that even high earners remain financially trapped. But here's the empowering truth. Every single trap is completely avoidable once you recognize it. The 20% who retire early aren't smarter, luckier, or richer. They simply refuse to follow the script that imprisons everyone else. Don't try to escape all 7 traps simultaneously. Pick one trap you're currently caught in and focus on breaking free this month. Maybe it's stopping lifestyle inflation with your next raise, or finally investing your savings account money, or starting that side business you've been thinking about for years. If this article has shown you exactly why you've been stuck financially, and more importantly, the specific path to freedom, comment freedom below. Share this with someone who's still trapped in the work until 65 mindset. You might be saving them decades of unnecessary labor. Want me to create a detailed video on the exact 30-day plan to escape each trap, or how to build your first income stream this month? Let me know what would help you most. Remember, early retirement isn't about age, it's about choice. When you escape these 7 traps, you don't just gain financial freedom. You gain the ultimate luxury, the power to choose how you spend your days. Your liberation starts with your next financial decision. Choose freedom.